Cyriel Dessers returns from his wedding ready to force an exit just as Hamza Igamane prepares to walk out the door to Lille in a deal that could land Rangers a staggering profit. Nasser Djiga jets in as the next piece of Russell Martin's defensive revolution, and Thelo Aasgaard edges closer to being unveiled in front of the Ibrox crowd. Backroom deals, bold moves, and bust-ups brewing. This isn't just another quiet window, this is a full-blown shake-up. You do not want to miss a second. You're waking up to news that's got the blue side of Glasgow buzzing and maybe even leaving a few green-faced across the city. Rangers are closing in on the signing of Thelo Aasgaard from Luton Town, and it's looking like a statement of real intent from Russell Martin and Kevin Thelwell. That's right, Aasgaard is set to become the fourth edition of the summer rebuild at Ibrox, following Joe Rothwell, Emmanuel Fernandez, and Max Aarons. This is no half-hearted punt either. Rangers are expected to pay an initial fee of £3 million, rising to £4 million with add-ons, if that's a proper investment, the kind that says, we're not here to make up the numbers. Now, Aasgaard is no stranger to finding the back of the net. 14 goals and 3 assists across all competitions last season, split between Wigan and Luton. He's a clever, nimble midfielder, thrives in tight spaces, cuts in from the left, can play as a 10, and most importantly, he scores goals. This is the kind of player who could light up Ibrox if Martin gets his system ticking. The plan is to unveil him before the pre-season friendly against Club Brugge. You might see him take his first steps at Ibrox as early as this weekend. And let's not forget, he's already been told by Norway boss Ståle Solbakken that if he stayed in League One, he'd be kissing his international career goodbye. That's not a wee suggestion. That's a proper shove in the back to get out of Luton. And get this, even Erling Haaland had a wee word in his ear before his Norway debut, encouraged him to take risks, to shoot. When Haaland tells you to shoot, you don't pass sideways. This signing signals something else, doesn't it? A fresh, ambitious era. Rangers, backed by the 49ers and led by a manager who's unashamedly devoted to his footballing vision. This isn't the scattergun approach of windows gone by. This feels planned, calculated. Martin's getting his men and Thelwell's pulling the strings like a maestro. But let's throw the cat among the pigeons here. If Russell Martin's revolution doesn't deliver silverware quickly, should Rangers fans demand a change at the top or be patient with the process? I reckon this news alone deserves a like, don't you think? It really helps the channel grow, mate. Just when you thought the transfer window couldn't get any more dramatic at Ibrox, Cyriel Dessers has thrown a spanner into the works, and not in a quiet, behind-the-scenes kind of way either. Fresh from his wedding, the Nigerian striker is heading back to Glasgow with one thing on his mind: forcing a move to AEK Athens. According to reports from Soccer Nigeria, Dessers has already shaken hands on personal terms with the Greek side, agreeing to a whopping £30,000 a week deal. That's not a player waiting for permission. That's a player packing his bags and expecting the door to be held open. But hold on, this isn't just any squad player we're talking about here. Cyriel Dessers led the line last season with 29 goals and 7 assists in 55 appearances. Those numbers don't lie. When the chips were down, it was often Dessers who pulled something out of the fire. And with Danilo still a major fitness gamble and the Champions League qualifier against Panathinaikos looming large on the calendar, this is not the moment to let your top striker walk out the door. You get the feeling Kevin Thelwell has a decision to make: stick or twist. Rangers shelled out £4.5 million for Dessers last year, and there's clearly hope of turning a profit. But if you let him go now without a proper replacement in the building, you're gambling big, not just financially, but with the season before it's even started. Dessers pushing for the move might feel like a betrayal to some, especially when Ibrox backed him through a rocky start. AEK Athens might seem like an easier ride, but where's the loyalty? Where's the desire to finish what he started? If Dessers is ready to down tools after one season, should Rangers show him the door now while his value's high, or force him to stay and risk having a want-away striker when the Champions League's on the line? Hamza Igamane, the Moroccan enigma who lit up Ibrox in flashes last season, looks set to call time on his short Rangers stint. With a move to Lille now practically nailed on, the 22-year-old, brought in last summer from Asfar for just £1.5 million, showed glimpses of something special. 12 goals in the league, 4 more in Europe, and the kind of flair that makes defenders dizzy. Nutmegs, flicks, little moments of magic. But was that ever going to be enough to lead the line for a club the size of Rangers? Kris Boyd certainly doesn't think so. Writing in the Scottish Sun, Boyd reckons that if any club's willing to cough up over £10 million, Rangers should snap their hand off. And he didn't mince his words, said he doesn't believe many in the dressing room would shed a tear if Igamane's locker got emptied. That's telling. For all the tricks and flashes of brilliance, there was always a question mark over his consistency, his physicality, and whether he could handle the pressure of being the main man up front at Ibrox. It's one thing to dance around defenders in the French league, quite another to do it on a rainy Wednesday night in Dingwall when the title's on the line. Now, here's the real kicker. With Dessers also agitating for a move, Rangers might be left without a proven number 9 just weeks before a massive Champions League qualifier. Russell Martin's got to act fast. The money from Igamane's sale would be a windfall, but if it's not reinvested in a top-class forward immediately, that cash means nothing when the goals dry up. So let's put the question to you. If Rangers cash in on Igamane and Dessers in the same window, do you trust the current regime to find a striker good enough and tough enough to fire Rangers to the title? Another piece of the puzzle is about to drop into place at Ibrox, and this time it's coming from Molineux. Rangers are closing in on the loan signing of Wolves defender Nasser Djiga, and by all accounts, this deal's moving fast. The 22-year-old Burkina Faso international is expected in Glasgow within days for a medical, with the deal all but agreed. It'll be a straight season-long loan. No option to buy, no obligation, just a year to show what he can do in front of the Ibrox faithful. And given the way Russell Martin shaping his squad, Djiga's arrival is no afterthought. This is a deliberate move to strengthen the spine. Let's not forget what this means in the bigger picture. With Leon Balogun gone, experience has left the building. In comes youth, raw athleticism, and bags of potential. For first, it was Emmanuel Fernandez from Peterborough, now Djiga from Wolves, and soon potentially Connor Cody from Leicester. That's not just plugging holes. That's a complete reimagining of Rangers' backline. Djiga barely got a sniff at Wolves, only 65 minutes in the Premier League, but Wolves paid up to £10 million for him in January from Red Star Belgrade. They don't throw that kind of cash at passengers. He's got something, and Rangers are banking on him bringing it to Govan. Still, this isn't a deal that screams long-term planning, is it? A loan with no buy clause means if Djiga excels, he's back down south in a year, and Rangers are left replacing him all over again. That's the gamble. Get the quality now, worry about permanence later. If Djiga comes in and becomes a standout in the Rangers' defense, does it expose a lack of ambition from the board, not securing a buy option? Or is this just smart business in a tight market? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon.